So I'm just going to share my screen with you. Okay, so as I said, welcome to Griffith College, Dublin, and academic year 23-24. Um, we are a faculty within Griffith College, and we are the Leinster School of Music and Drama. And I'm sure a lot of you know that we have a very long and rich history, over 100 years. And this evening we are welcoming you onto the Higher Diploma in Arts and Drama and Education and its embedded awards and certificates. So we are delighted to welcome you here. We are a small faculty in the college, but we have a lot to offer to you in the coming months. And I think you'll find, because we are a small faculty, there's a family-like atmosphere and we get to know one another very well over the academic year. So our faculty is made up of the following people. Karen Casey is with us here this evening. She's head of faculty, waving at you there. And that's her email address. And then, unfortunately, our faculty administrator, Kirsty Muldoon, wasn't available to join us this evening. But Kirsty will become an important part of your life over the next few months. And that's her email address. And then I'm Suzanne Binley, and I am the programme director. I think I've spoken to or met most of you either over the phone or by Zoom. You'll see that it's nice and simple. The Griffith College email addresses are the person's first name, followed by a dot, then their surname, and at griffith.ie. So that's how you can make contact with the lecturers. So what sets us apart as a faculty? You've made this decision to make an investment in yourself and an investment in your future, and you have decided to pursue a passion. So I believe what makes our faculty special is that we have highly qualified teaching staff, several of whom are active in the industry. So they're not just academics, they are teaching and directing and performing and devising and are involved in what they're teaching, which I think makes a really big difference. We also invite a really sort of vast range of experience guest lecturers onto the course, some of whom are graduates. And I think that really helps for learners to get an insight into all aspects and elements of the industry. And then this experience, combined with their depth of teaching knowledge, enhances the unique learning experience offered by the school. So we have a mix of each of the courses represented here tonight, which is great. So we have the Certificate in Drama Performance, which is a 20 credits course, and it involves modules 1 and 2. Then the Certificate in Drama and Education, which is our 45 credit module, which involves modules 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then finally, the full programme, which is the Higher Diploma in Arts in Drama Education, which is a 60 credit programme and involves all 6 modules. So these are our 6 modules. So we have Preparing the Performer. I'm the only representative of that module here this evening. The Creative Process, which Sarah Brennan will speak to you about. Pedagogy and Teaching Placement, we have Aveen and Bernie and myself. Professional Practice, we don't have anybody with us this evening. Unfortunately, they were unable to attend, but I'll be able to give a little bit of help with that. And then the Psychology of Teaching and Learning, we have Peter Gillis with us. And then for Application of the Creative Process, all 3 lecturers are here, which is Sarah, Luke, and Andy. So we'll start with Module 1. So everybody that's in attendance this evening will take Module 1, Preparing the Performer. Preparing the Performer is delivered mainly at the weekend on Sundays and is generally face-to-face because it's a very practical module. And then I have you on a Tuesday evening just for 6 weeks. and that's spread out through the academic year. I think it's almost once a month. And Preparing the Performer covers the voice, which I will take you for. So we look at the practical elements of teaching children and young adults about using their voice, about public speaking, about effective communication, preparing them for the LSMD exam suite, and looking at the syllabi, which have been launched in the last couple of months. Sharon O'Doherty will take you for the mime and mask element of the module, which I know is really enriching and fulfilling. So the mask is where she does the Commedia dell'arte masks with you, and then she covers all aspects of mime. And then finally, Sinead will take you for the dance module. Now, I know sometimes when people see dance written down, I suppose really it's more to do with movement, and you'll study Laban's method and how to use movement and dance when preparing creative programs. And I think what makes this module different is that it's all taught from a pedagogical point of view. So the idea is that we are teaching you how to teach it. So not only will you improve and hone your own skills, but you will develop and improve your teaching skills. So again, module 2, everybody who's in attendance tonight will take this module, and I'll pass you over to Sarah Brennan, who will fill you in.
Hi, everyone. So yeah, the creative process is sort of introducing you to some of the principles of directing, which can be a large part of a drama teacher's work. So it's divided into 3 sections. We start off with an introduction to improvisation. Again, as Suzanne was saying, with a view to how do you teach it to younger students. Then the second part is a devising project. So we look at how to, different stimuli, how you can start devising, but basically you'll be working in groups on a project from scratch and performing a 5-minute piece that you've totally created yourselves. And then we move on to script work. So we will be looking at text, different text, what suits different age groups, and different strategies when approaching younger people, when you're directing them for different things, whether it be plays, exams, fesh, different, all the different things that you can come across as a teacher. So that's that, and it will end in an assessment. So we're going to use the LSMD syllabus and pick a monologue from that and work on it, and that will be your final assessment, is a scene directing assessment for the creative process.
Thank you, Sarah. So then moving on to, I should have mentioned, Preparing the Performer and the Creative Process are both 10 credit modules. So moving on then to Pedagogy and Teaching Placement, which I suppose could be considered our capstone module. It has 20 credits, and I'm going to pass over to Aoibhinn Finnegan, and then Bernie, you might add to what Aoibhinn has to say.
Hello, you're very welcome this evening, and it's lovely to meet you all. So as Suzanne said, I am part of the Pedagogy and Teaching Placement module. So my part of the module focuses on the teaching methodology. So how do we teach drama, and what are the most effective practices that we can put in place in our classrooms? So we look at things like process drama, so what that is, and we delve into it as that's kind of the main aspect of this module. We look at drama in a variety of contexts, and that focuses preliminary on the primary school curriculum, but we also branch out into different areas here as well. We look at planning and assessment, classroom organization and management, drama strategies and conventions, and then the theory behind many different aspects of pedagogy, like, for example, early childhood education. And then Bernie comes in as well, and I'll let her speak about that.
Hey, sorry, I have my unmute finally off. So I follow on and sort of build on what Aoibhinn does, talking about inclusive education, looking a little bit more closely at the lesson planning and how you plan for diverse groups, either neurodiverse or, you know, students with special educational needs, or just students with different needs. So how do you include them? How do you make your lessons as inclusive as possible? How do you think about your planning from beginning to end, and really just tying it up nicely, making a good tapestry out of your planning? And that's what I do.
And then within that module, I look after sort of practical pedagogy in conjunction with what Aoibhinn does. So this is the module, and I have discussed this with most of you, where you will engage in 60 hours teaching placement, which we advise that you should gather over the course of the qualification. We also ask that you engage in 15 hours of observation, and we like some of those observation hours to be with a graduate so that you can see what we're teaching you rolled out in the classroom. The teaching placement is assessed with 2 visits. So generally I come to see you, announced, not unannounced, where you'll have sent me your lesson plan and I'll come to watch you teach, and then I'll give you feedback. So that happens twice within the module. And it's, I suppose, the assessment in module 3 is done by lesson planning and through reflection, which we have some lectures on within pedagogy. We provide you with some academic writing and some reflective writing, because it's a very different and new type of skill to lots of people. So we'll give lots of support. And the good thing is, because the course has been elongated a little, you don't have to start your teaching placement immediately. You can take a little bit of time, you can bed in with the learning, you can sort of, attend some of Aoibhinn's lectures and sort of get your head around what it is we're hoping you'll teach in the classrooms. So then moving on to professional practice. So this is exactly as it says there on the slide. You'll cover child protection with Garode Unwell Vehicle, who's the head of child protection for the GAA. Health and safety is with Natalie Boyle. And then finally, the business element of it is with Geraldine McGing, who's one of the business lecturers in Griffith. And it gives you a really good basis and covers all of the things that you need to be au fait with to run an arts business correctly. And I think that's very important. And a lot of other qualifications, whether it's the associate or licentiate, this is something that doesn't get touched on as regularly. So it's a very important module, and it's a 5-credit one. And then moving on to our next 5-credit module, psychology of teaching and learning, and I will pass you over to Peter Gillis for that.
Hi, good evening. Looking forward to meeting all you guys next week. So I take you for the psychology of teaching and learning, and I think that's an important sort of addition to put to it. So we are looking at a psychological level, but we're looking at psychology as it pertains to teaching and learning. So we're going to look at what are the basic tools we're provided with in order to take information in and process it, like attention, perception, memory. Then we're going to look at the learning theories, how the psychologists believe we learn and acquire new skills and new information. Excuse me. And then we'll move on to look at what about when that gets down to an individual. So looking at individual difference, looking at emotional intelligence. And while it might sound at a very academic level, it's all very practical. It's all very applied. And from previous years, students do find understanding at a psychological level what way their students learn has been very helpful. So looking forward to spending time with you guys till after Christmas, actually.
Yeah, thank you, Peter. And then finally, application of the creative process. So I suppose we'll go in order that it's written here. So we'll start with theatre history, and Luke, please.
Sorry. Lovely to meet you all. Look forward to seeing you all next week. So I'll be with you for 8 weeks of the coming semester, and we'll be taking a whistle-stop tour through the major kind of eras, trends, and styles within a long theatre history. So beginning with ancient Greece and bring us right up to contemporary Irish, with modernism, postmodernism along the way. We'll be engaging with 8 key texts, and we'll be building out from there. We'll be kind of reflecting on those texts each week and then examining how they fit into an overall picture within their period of history. And then we'll be thinking about how we can practically apply our reflections into classroom exercises in the future. We'll be considering how we can kind of build out from these texts to kind of create activities that reflect these styles and generate an awareness of these styles, eras, and techniques within the classroom. That's going to integrate into our assessment, where we'll be building out a portfolio of classroom exercises, so one per era, so eight different ones, which will be due at the end of the semester. So really, it'll be all about kind of drawing in this huge kind of lineage of theatre history, drawing it together and seeing how the lineage of practice takes place over time, so we can reflect that out from there. I'll pass over to the next person, which I think is Andy.
Yeah, I think so. Thanks, Luke. Nice to meet you all. So I guess I work full time in the production department of the Abbey Theatre, and my role there is to work with designers and develop ideas and to get plays on the stage safely and within budget, and also to hopefully kind of match the aspirations of the design that was developed at the start. So I come from it from a much more practical perspective, in a sense of ultimately how to put a play on properly. And what I'll be doing with you guys is working through the different strands, I suppose, deconstructing what a play is in terms of how the different elements are designed and combined, and how they collaborate together, and also how you plan that process, as it goes through its changing shape up to the point where you present it to an audience. So we'll be looking at that kind of towards the end of this year and into next year. So I look forward to working with you all.
That's great. Thank you. So that is a good chunk of our lecturing team. And what we've tried to do this year is that for the majority of the lectures that you'll meet in person to begin with, and then some of you will go back online, or it's blended throughout the year. So on my slides of stuff. Here we go. So just about settling into Griffith College, we'll share these slides with you tomorrow. So you can click the griffith.ie/induction, and there's lots of information there. You can download the Griffith app from your app store, and you can find your way around Griffith College with Maze Map. And it can be a confusing place from time to time. And then there are, key people here to support you. So the student union, the library, the IT help desk, there's learner supports, and then obviously the program director and the faculty team. And you will note that you can, your student ID card will be arranged through the library. I know that some of you haven't been able to register yet, but don't worry about that for now, and we'll get that sorted in the coming week. So just the library is on the second floor in the Griffith building, the Arthur Griffith building, which is kind of the main building that you see when you come in on campus. There are library websites, catalogues, online databases, academic supports. There are a couple of specifically dedicated to drama shelves, and maybe when we're together on Thursday, we might take time to go up and have a look and let you see where the library is and where they are located. There's library Moodle with tutorials and guides and academic research and writing references. And then we have go-griffith.ie for dissertations, and thankfully we won't be involved in that. And then there's library YouTube channel. You'll see the word Moodle there for library Moodle. So that's how we communicate with our students. That's how we share information with learners. And once you're registered and up and running, you'll have access to Moodle. And then each subject has a Moodle page. So then also we have learning support for learners with disabilities. The Learning Support Office works with learners and staff to promote positive and successful learning experience for learners with disabilities and specific learning difficulties. So It's confidential. I was speaking to them in learner support today. They have lots of one-on-one appointments, so it's no problem to make contact with them and make an appointment. And you'll see there that, you know, they do feel that early disclosure is a good idea, and that we can give as much support as we can. So I've just included a slide there that has their email address, their phone number, and where they're located on campus. Then we also have the student union. Now, I know that when you're like a part-time student that attends in the evening and at the weekend, you may not have as much need for the student union, but at the same time, I do think it's important that you know where they are and who they are. So Snowita is our SU president, and then Mahima is the vice president. And in the coming weeks, we will choose a class rep, and then they'll be in contact with student union as well. So just for a little bit of clarity, because we have lots of different learners and different programs this year. So for those of you who are taking the full qualification, so that's the higher diploma in arts and drama and education, your first lecture is next Tuesday, the 19th of September, and you will be on campus in A009. So when you come in the main reception door of the college, and the fireplace is in front of you, you turn left, A009 is down the first corridor. So it's a nice simple find. And then for those of you that, so the higher diploma students will attend again on campus on Thursday, and joining them then will be the certificate in drama and education learners. So it's at 6:30 again. So it's 6:30 to 9:30, and we take a short break in the middle. So generally we try to ask the 6:30 lecturer to finish at 5 to 8, and the 8 p.m. lecturer to start at 5 past 8. And then for the certificate in drama performance, your first Sunday on campus is the 1st of October, and that's at 10 a.m. And again, luckily for us, it's in A007. So when you come into the main foyer, it's through the door on your right, and it's on the back wall is that room. I think that Sarah, and if Sharon and Sinead were here, when you come in for practical lectures on the Sunday, it's important to dress appropriately for movement, in clothes that are comfortable and easy to move in, and that you don't mind being on the floor in, I think would be important to say. And then I suppose the recipe for success. So the key abilities which will contribute to successful individual participation on the programme have been identified as excellent communication skills, a genuine desire to nurture and develop drama skills among learners of all ages and abilities, an openness to new ideas, a willingness to engage with fellow learners and collaborate, an ability to share ideas and your own prior learning with fellow learners, an ability to challenge and interrogate conventional methods, engaging in personal and professional reflection throughout the programme. We're very proud of the graduates of our programmes, and they are, very pleased to say, a majority of them engaged actively in the sector since they have graduated, running schools around the country, some running their own school, others employed in really, really diverse settings, which I think is testament to how diverse the qualification is. And I think that, you know, if you take some time to look at the induction page, to read through the documents that you'll get from me next week, and give yourself a little bit of time to settle in. And we just wanted to thank you for coming along. Karen, I'm not sure if you wanted to say anything just as regards with the faculty. I suppose yourself, myself and Kirsty are always there, and happy to help in any way that we can.
Absolutely, Suzanne. Yeah, no, thanks very much for all that. Yes, myself and Kirsty are normally based in on campus in the office, which is B003, which again is just off the reception area there, so it's quite handy to get to. But you can email us or call us anytime. And obviously now with the way Zoom is so popular now, you know what I mean, we're only literally at the end of a phone call. If you need anything, Kirsty is absolutely excellent as a course administrator. for the faculty. And if there's anything I can do, you know, as I said, we're just at the end of a phone call or an email. We're doing up, I started to do up some teachers' information packs there today in the office. So we'll hand them out. I will give them to Suzanne to hand out to you early next week. And it's basically, you know, some information about the exams, the syllabus, some information that we think will help you when you do start your teaching. And as I said, we're at the end of the phone or an email anytime. If you have any queries at all, just shout.
Absolutely. And you can see it there that, you know, we're there and all you need to do is to ask. So what I would say at this point is what Karen was talking about there is when I see you on campus on Thursday, I'll have a teacher pack for each of you, and that will have all the documentation and the course handbook, the module outlines, an indicative assessment handbook as well. But all of that will be available in the student area on Moodle as well. Also, we will put you through a Garda vetting process with Create, and we'll have that for you to complete and fill in. Now, when you go on placement, we'll have you vetted through Create, but if you go to teach in a primary school or in a secondary school or in any other type of educational establishment, they will vet you again. So the Create vetting is that we will have it on file and it's there. But don't be surprised that wherever you approach will then vet you again. Karen, you've raised your hand.
Sorry, I just remember there, Suzanne, as well. I just wanted to mention to the learners coming onto the programme, we also have as a kind of a resource for you the sample drama and poetry pieces that are in the syllabus. So we have all that on email. It's not on hard copy. I have it on email. So we'll pop that out to you in an email during the week. And as I said, you'll have the hard copy of the syllabus and, you know, the exam guidelines and the teacher handbook all on hard copy. But we'll send you all those pieces. It's an excellent resource that will help you pick out the pieces that if you want to, you know, prepare with your students, you know, so it's really in depth. So we'll send that on to you as well. That was just something I thought of there as well.
Yeah, that's great. Thanks, Karen. And I suppose the advice that I would give you, you've heard a lot of information this evening. You'll hear a lot of information on Tuesday and again on Thursday. But just to take it one step at a time, you know, we'll come back to things. There are two sort of big pieces of assessment, and you'll hear the word process folio being just spoken about by all of the lecturers, because it's an assessment piece that's threaded through the 6 modules. But just remember, you know, don't panic about anything. Don't overthink anything. If you have a question, all of our lecturers will always respond. So, you know, take the time to email us. I would say that, you know, everybody's lives are very busy and everybody has smartphones and smartwatches and, you know, access to everything. But do try your best to contact teaching staff within teaching hours, I suppose, within business hours, that idea, you know. And if you have a really good idea at 10 o'clock at night, write your email and put it in your drafts and then send it the next morning. Also, you'll see in the course handbook that, you know, 80% attendance is expected. And I know that particularly the lecturers who engage in practical stuff, if somebody is absent or unwell, we can record a lecture online and we can share it with you on Moodle. But in the case of MIME, MASK, the creative process, application of the creative process, it's not as easy an option. So we would request that wherever possible, within reason, of course, that you would make it to campus when we request that you would be there. And we've worked over the last couple of years since the pandemic to try and blend it as smoothly as we can. And for the most part, it works very well. So I really look forward to meeting you all in person on Thursday. I'm going to stop the recording now in case anybody has a question.